Alright, so I'm going to be looking at another deck from UK Nats. This time not one that did as well as Tom Payne, obviously, but rather one that got to top 32. And that is Rocco Tambellini's Ruler Plant deck. Now, the thing with this was that he only got to top 32, which doesn't look that good on paper, but well, obviously, relatively, like top 32 is still really good, but it's like, oh, why are you paying particular attention to this? Rocco was first off the Swiss on day one. He was the only EXO left, so I was fifth at X1. I was sitting next to Rocco's match in the last round. I was at table 2, and it was a guy playing Gear Gear against Rocco, and yeah, Rocco ended up winning, and it was very interesting. It was very interesting to watch. Obviously I was playing a game, right? So I wasn't just watching, but I managed to look over a little bit every now and then, and yes, it's an unorthodox deck, but the fact that he went EXO on day one is a huge testament to him and what the deck can do. I presume so. Yeah, and of course it's a ruler build, so why wouldn't I look at it? So we start off with the 4 rulers, 2 guard, 1 debris, 1 water, 1 tree. It's pretty standard for everything now. I think in just about any ruler build you should be running that that 9 card 9 card ratio of 2 vanillas, and then one target, at least one target for each dragon, so that you make banishing them profitable. Then the plant engine, 2 lone fire, 1 Danny, 1 spore. Didn't run Titanio. Why would you really? Lone fire is great. And Dandy and spore are great. Obviously, lone fire is great. So that's the plant engine. And then 3 Curry Bandit and 2 Trooper. So, clearly, clearly you really wanted that card to just start setting up the grave. Didn't want to take any chances with, 3 and 1 or 2 and 2 or 2 and 1. The problem with this would be that you'd run the risk of double drawing, but clearly to him the benefits of having access to early mills outweighed the ramifications of double drawing. And 3 maxi for that dragon metacore, which didn't happen. Then 3 shrine, 3 charge, 3 MST, 1 sock, 1 barrel, 1 foolish. Nothing weird there. Not running a book though makes me sad. Then 2 wing wind, 2 emptiness. Emptiness is interesting. Plays triple max and 2 emptiness. Again, like really expecting dragons or something, which didn't happen. Well, to be fair, I don't know if it didn't happen for him because I don't know what matchups he played. He could have played all dragons. I just know that the turnout for dragons wasn't as good as it was predicted. And then 1 TT, 1 bottomless, and 1 warning. So interesting that he went with warning over compulse. So I guess some decisions like the emptiness were suited for the mirror. Well, he thought, I'll put in a warning. Yeah. That's what. Tons of things that he should have ran. I don't really know. Upstart. I guess he didn't feel he needed it. Obviously, in hindsight, some things are suspect, but the list looks fine. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily have the exact same list, but I have no problems with the list. This looks fine. So if it worked for him, it worked for him. Then 1 formula, 1 hyper librarian, 2 black crows. So evidently he just loves dropping that black crows and nuking the field, which is good because black crows is amazing. One Blader, one Colossal, one Stardust, one Scrap, one Giganti Castle. Alright. One Star Eater, one Mech-Whipped as the only rank 3. It's interesting. It's interesting they went with that over Zen mains. I guess he felt that the deck was more offensive, so Mech-Whipped is nice in that it's defensive, but it's like offensively defensive, if that makes any sense. So it helps you to protect a big field. Something like Zen mains is just a defensive card most of the time, while Mech-Whipped complements a big field, so it allows you to protect things that you use to become more offensive. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like compare it with something like Levia, which you could have ran. Levia is obviously good for creating more plays, but it doesn't have any defensive value, while Zen mains has a lot of defensive value but not much offensive value. Mech-Whipped is like in the middle, and that is very good at protecting things, but it can do so with a big field. That's why I love Mech-Whipped so much. Mech-Whipped is Mech-Whipped is a really good card. I would say Mech-Whipped is probably the best rank 3. Has been for a while. Zen mains hasn't been that great for a while. I mean, Zen mains is better now than it was, but it's nowhere near as good now as it was when it first came out. So yeah. Then one Draco, one Big Eye, one Helio, one Felgrand. Seems fine to me. Then for the side, 2 Crow, 3 Fire, 3 Ice. It's interesting. That's more than what people normally tend to play. 3 Blackhorn, 1 Decree, Chainburn, I guess. 1 Debunk and 1 Needle Ceiling. I can't really comment on sides much. If it works, if it works for him, then it works for him. I think that with side, you should just do what feels right for you. So I know the way that I like to side, but I don't because if someone sides in a manner that isn't the same way that I do, I respect that it's different from the way I do things. I'm not gonna be like, that's wrong. Of course not. That's one of the cool things about this game. There are discrepancies. Things are different. Yeah, again, a lot of dragon. Well, not a lot of dragon hate in the side, but a decent amount with crows. It's Blackhorns for going first, but Blackhorns work against other things. Debunk. But yeah, if it worked for him, it worked for him. So yeah, it's interesting to see a plant ruler deck go EXO, go first after Swiss. I guess comments. The reason, because I used to play Plant Ruler. I played it at YCS Berlin, although the night before YCS Berlin, I realized that the plant engine was not optimal, but I couldn't drop it because I'd pre-registered. Now the reason why I thought that the engine was suboptimal, and I stand by this opinion, the engine is suboptimal, although I can argue both ways. The reason why I'd say it's suboptimal is because it doesn't, if you have a hand of rulers, having plants tends not to accelerate your hands. So like how with hieratics and mythics, and the draw power mythics both work in order to accelerate your early game and fuel the grave for the dragons, which is the point of the sub engine, right? I had that whole discussion as to why I preferred hieratic to drawing with mythics and whatnot, but even like both hieratics and mythics do the same thing in that respect, in terms of fueling the grave, accelerating the early game. Plants don't really do anything. They don't fuel the grave. Lone Fire does, but you don't always draw Lone Fire when you have a spore left in deck. or a dandy left in, well, obviously a plant left in deck, but generally going lone fire, dandy isn't that great. You'd want to, like, having lone fire plus shrine is great because it's a free, it's not a free level 8, but it's a level 8. You know, you go shrine, send, guard, blaster, lone fire spore, banish the 2 lone fires, or banish guard and lone fire, get blaster, synchro, stardust, or something. Like, I used to do that a lot. That was the bread and butter play of the deck. But it doesn't always work out like that. If you draw Spore, Spore is just like drawing a Dragon Tuner in Mythic Ruler, which we already know is bad, right? We already know that that's not good. And that's a problem. But the difference is that Spore isn't, the plants aren't dragons, right? So even if you draw a handful of dragon tuners, or like things like Blue Eyes and Guard in the Mythic Ruler build, at least they're dragons, right? So you can use them as tuners, obviously, and then they go to the grave, and then they fuel the grave for rulers. Spore does not have that. I mean, it's a wind for Tempest, but Tempest generally just gets banished anyway. So that's that. Dandelion is a good card on its own, I guess, but still, drawing it doesn't really do anything. It forces you to like set it and play things slow, which isn't good. And then the biggest problem I found was that if you draw multiples of the plants, then it's just completely awful. So you'd get hands of drawing even two. So you could either draw double lone fire, or lone fire plus dandy, or lone fire plus spore, or dandy plus spore. Dandy plus spore was the worst because it made the lone fires in your deck dead. But having multiple plants in your hand was just horrific. And what I realized was that there was this contradiction in my logic, in that the reason why myself and Will dropped the Chaos Tengu dragons, Wyver Buster and Collapse Up, and quite early on, when we used to run 3/3 of them alongside the plants, alongside the rulers, and that was a very explosive deck. It could do a lot of things when it went off, was because you would just open hands of all the Chaos Tengus, and you wouldn't be able to do anything because there's no way of getting them out of your hand once they're there, aside from like Wind Blast and things like that, which you didn't want to do. But yeah, so I dropped them, and it was just rulers with plants, and that was more consistent, albeit a lot slower. But then the same problem lies with plants, in that if you draw a handful of plants, even though you only run 4, but still, if you draw more than one, then it wasn't that great. And even then, even when you draw one, it isn't that great. The only one that you want to draw is Lone Fire. And you have as strong a chance of drawing into one of the Lone Fires as you do of drawing into one of the other ones. So that was a problem. It was a problem, to be honest. And that was ultimately why I came to drop the plant engine. So you have a handful of hieratics is great. You have a handful of, I don't know, dragons with draw cards as that engine. It's great, but with the plants, like, the more you draw, the worse it is. And then you're forced into deciding weird compromises, like whether or not to run Titanial, which helps the problem but at the same time exacerbates it, and various other things that that made it a suboptimal choice, in my opinion. Does Soul Charge change things? Maybe. I noticed that he wasn't running Shooting Star, which in my mind is absolutely incredible. Like, why wouldn't you run Shooting Star? Lone Fire plus Soul Charge is a Shooting Star. One of the things that myself and Will used to love about the deck so much was that if you had Lone Fire and Core, you had a Shooting Star. And shooting star is not easy to deal with. If you have a backer to protect it or something, like a wind blast or something like that, then it's good. It's all good, you know. You just summon the shooting star and then it was strong as hell. That 3/3 beat that banishes itself and can negate a destruction effect once per turn. Off two cards, off Lone Fire Soul Charge. Granted, we don't have Shooting Quasar in this meta, right? But Shooting Star is still a beast on its own, and he didn't run it. I found that quite odd. Because there are a lot of things that he didn't really need. Gigantic Castle, I don't know how essential that would be. Second Black Rose, I don't know how essential that would be. Heliopolis, I don't know how essential that would be. Mech-Whipped, I don't know how essential that would be. It seems like Shooting Star would have been a very easy to put in. But that aside, because that is the main reason why I would regard plants as being good in a Soul Charge format, because you can just go first turn into Shooting Star with a draw off the nah dude, nah sorry, you don't even summon Librarian. But still, you have a shooting Quasar, sorry, a Shooting Star out first turn thanks to Soul Charge. And you can get more as well, obviously. I would consider that to be the reason why you would play the plant engine. That didn't seem to be the case. I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's optimal or it's the best build, but it's very interesting to see, because he did better than me. So who am I to sit in front of a camera and bash? And I'm not bashing, by the way. I'm just giving my commentary as someone who did play the deck a lot. And I love plants as well. So obviously, if it were the best choice, I'd have played it. If it were the best choice, I'd have very much enjoyed playing it. Because I'm not like a fan of hieratics. I'm actually a fan of plants. And it was interesting to see him do so well. Given that I don't necessarily agree with not just individual choices, but the choice to run the deck itself. The problems that I found haven't been addressed yet, in my opinion, especially with the lack of a Shooting Star. But it's interesting to me. It's interesting. That's why I love this game. Yay. JK, I love this game obviously for the women. The women just get me. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatnot. Lovely me. Hug me and stuff. See you around.